Good afternoon, South Africa, and a very warm welcome to Afternoon Express. I'm Jeannie D. It is Friday, and we are about to hit the weekend. Now, you'll notice that I'm wearing this little purple ribbon because this Sunday, the 11th of October, is International Day of the Girl Child. With roughly 62 million girls in the world not in school, this initiative aims to recognize girls' rights and the unique challenges that girls face around the globe. In South Africa this year, to honor the day, Dignity Dreams, Feed and Run Walk for Life are hosting a 5-kilometer family run and walk at the Botanical Gardens in Pretoria. It's this Sunday. Now, for more information, make sure that you visit our website, afternoonexpress.co.za. Also in the loft today, we have an absolute musical icon. David Kramer is going to be chatting to us a little bit later. But first, hello, Bonnie.
Thank you, Jeannie. I'm Bonnie Booley. Welcome to our kitchen. Joining me is the gorgeous Lynelle Kenned. She's been in the loft with us before, but this time she's here to talk to us about Orpheus in Africa. Welcome.
Thanks, Bonnie.
And of course, you'll all know Tumi of Tumi on the Volume, who's got his own prolific, huge career. Welcome.
Merci, Bonnie.
Lovely to have you in the loft.
Thank you for having me.
And in the kitchen, we're making a salmon ceviche with Cami. How are you, Cami?
I'm well, you?
I'm good, thank you. So ceviche seems to be all the rage now in cuisine, hey?
Yes, it is, and it's actually just the beautiful fresh fish dressed with a cure made of often lemon or, in this case, grapefruit juice. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, I am too. I can't wait. You look gorgeous, by the way.
Thank you.
Let's head back to the couch with our first guest.
Thanks, Bonnie. Now, he's one of South Africa's leading entertainment icons. We fell in love with him in the 80s with his red veldschoen, bicycle and down-to-earth charm. And he has since become a multi-award-winning international musical theatre director and producer with shows running on the West End and Broadway for years. Joining us on the couch is the legendary David Kramer.
Thank you.
Welcome to Afternoon Express.
Thank you. Lovely to be here with you.
I love that you have modernized the veldschoen.
The patent
You've got
leather.
a chic patent leather now.
Yeah, just a little bit of sheen on them. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm the biggest fan of patent leather. You're looking so slick. Now, I have to ask, you've been so loved and so respected in the industry for, just over 40 years now. What do you think it is about David Kramer that just makes you so lovable?
Well, I think the way it started out was very much me being an ordinary kind of everyman character. I was quite influenced by Charlie Chaplin and that same sort of idea of just being, almost the anti-hero.
Yeah.
The guy on the bicycle who comes out of the karoo and in some ways is not a city slicker at all. And I think people identify with that idea, that he's just like me, or he's not trying to be super cool. Yeah. He's not trying to be anything. He's not. There's no high status. It's very low status. The character. That's how it started out, and then it morphed into storytelling for me. Where I started to move away from that persona. Which is a stage persona for me, playing that, the character with the red shoes and the guitar and the bicycle. And slowly over the years, I've moved off stage into storytelling and directing and producing.
But with that, I think you've always had a degree of storytelling, even in your early days.
Yes.
But you had an amazing way of mixing humor with poignancy. And, to what effect, can you do that without being offensive and still making it enjoyable?
In the beginning, I had no idea that I could be funny. Really? I only discovered my humor on stage. Off stage, I'm quite a serious person. Not that I take myself seriously, but I'm quite serious about things and about discussing things and thinking about things. But when I went on stage and started talking to audiences, and especially with that sort of persona of, sort of small town, rural personality, and my honesty about talking about my background at that time, it took people by surprise. And they found it very funny that I would talk about, growing up in a small town and spending Sunday afternoons parked alongside the national road and, watching the cars going by. It was that sort of time, when nothing happened. And so I discovered that I could be funny by disparaging myself.
Yeah.
And that's where the humor came in, and then I also had a little bit of dig with the satire on the political side of things. I was very much using satire to kind of have a go at some sacred cows that existed in those days with the apartheid system and the apartheid regime. It seems crazy now, but I was using the language of the streets. I was mixing English and Afrikaans.
Yeah.
I was using a kind of Cape vernacular.
Exactly.
And that wasn't what it was supposed to be like. You were either supposed to speak English or proper Afrikaans.
Yeah.
So mixing the languages kind of went against the whole idea of separate cultures.
Yeah.
And whereas I was saying, no, it's not like that. People, it's far more mixed, and the way people actually are in real life is the way I'm speaking.
Yeah.
So let's forget all this pretentious
Let's just be
nonsense.
normal. Let's be real.
And that's what's happened. I'm talking about, the 80s.
But let's touch on what you mentioned now, is that you were using, language from the streets, and you also had a huge influence with Kwela and Khuma. How... You're obviously very relatable to every South African, but how did you know those languages enough to be able to use them in such a humorous way?
Well, I just picked it up from reading and listening and so on, and incorporated it into some of my work, but not a lot. And so I explored musically. I explored rhythms like the Guma rhythm and the Mbaqanga and the Kwela rhythms and so on, because I was looking for a South African identity in music, and that led me to explore the whole topic of District 6. That led me to meet up with Tully Peterson.
Yeah.
It led me to go into the Karoo, a few years ago when I went in search of the old eccentric violin players and guitar players, and I presented Karoo Guitar Blues. So my search for identity, not only as a performer and a person, but my search for musical identity, to find a guitar styling that was recognizable, so that if you heard my music on the radio, you say, oh, that's David Kramer. Yeah.
Yeah, and you are sensational. Now, we're going to be chatting to you a little bit later. I'd love to touch on your relationship with the late Tully Peterson and, of course, the great musical director and producer. We're going to be chatting with you about that in a little while. Right now, though, after the break, Bonnie makes us salmon ceviche in the kitchen, and I'll be back on the couch to chat more with the legendary David Kramer. We'll be right back.
Express yourself. Clicks. Feel good. Pay less.
Winner Home The Design Edition is the only show on South African television that truly lives up to its name.
Enter online at winnerhome.tv or via SMS for the weekly Viewers Prize. And put yourself in line to win a 2-bedroom apartment on Durban's prestigious Umhlanga Ridge, an exclusive luxury car, or 50,000 rands worth of home appliances. That's Winner Home, Friday nights at 7:30, repeat Saturdays at 4:30. Find it on 3.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express here on SABC3. I'm in the kitchen with Woolies product developer Cami Peplo, and we're going to be making a salmon ceviche, right?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Very exciting. Sounds very exotic. What is a ceviche?
Well, a ceviche is actually a Latin American dish. It's usually made with fish or seafood, and it's basically cured with like citrus. The acid from the citrus cures the ceviche, and then you'll see it kind of firm up and change color.
Oh, wow.
Normally they add chili to it, so in this case we're going to be adding chipotle.
Okay, wonderful. And chipotle is also very interesting. We've made it a couple of times in the kitchen, but what is it exactly?
Well, chipotle is actually the Latin word for smoked chili. So in this instance, it's a Mexican smoked jalapeno.
Can't wait to get started.
So firstly, we're going to make our dressing for the ceviche. And we first add 5 tablespoons of grapefruit juice.
Okay.
Would you mind juicing that lime over there, please?
No, not at all. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
And
so
is that,
that's
can
actually,
you use freshly squeezed grapefruit?
Yes, actually, the grapefruit juice is a product from Woolworths. It's freshly squeezed, locally produced, and it's actually from the ruby grapefruit variety.
Okay.
So it has been squeezed for our convenience, so we literally don't have to do it ourselves.
That's why we love Woolies.
Absolutely.
Convenience.
But there's no sugar added or water, so that's really cool. So it's exactly how you would do it at home.
Lovely, okay. And what's our next step?
Okay, the next thing we are going to add the chipotle flakes. Cast the sugar.
Right.
And then we're also adding the zest of 1 lime. So you can just pour that lime juice in.
Okay.
Yeah. You'd also season it, maybe with a bit of salt. Then we'd also add some fresh coriander, which you can cut up for us with a scissor just to make it more convenient. Yeah. It adds good flavor and obviously a beautiful fresh visual.
Yeah.
So by now, the sugar should be combined. And then what we do is we'd spoon this over 250 grams of sliced salmon.
Right.
So I've already done that previously. So you spoon it over, and as you can see, the salmon has changed color. You see, it almost looks like it's been cooked or seared on the outside. Yeah. And then to serve with that, we are going to make a fennel salad. We've got some finely sliced fennel, some spring onion, and now some sliced radishes. And that will all go into the dressing. But also keep in mind that we are going to use 2 tablespoons of the dressing that we've made for the salmon to dress the salad as well. But I must say, fennel is definitely one of my favorite ingredients.
What do you love about it?
I think just that fresh licorice kind of flavor. It goes perfectly with fish. And for me, I think my favorite way of cooking it is sautéing it with butter, adding garlic and cream. So it really cooks and makes a delicious accompaniment for fish. So I'm gonna
Is there any other type of fish you could use for ceviche?
Yes, well, you can use other white fish. It normally goes very well with maybe a king clip or hake or so on. But for salmon makes a really nice, rich dish. And salmon is also very good for omega-3s.
Yes,
So
it's very healthy.
that's
very healthy.
Good one. Okay, so we're going to spoon 2 tablespoons of our dressing on it. And then also we're going to mix in some of our baby herb leaves. So this is perfect because it is delicate, it is small, so it's going to add beautiful volume to the salad. You can basically add all of this into the bowl, but reserve some so that we can garnish it beautifully at the end.
Perfect. And of course, pop over to our website, afternoonexpress.co.za for the full recipe and shopping list.
Okay, so I'm just tossing it around a bit.
So you could typically make this for lunch or on a sunny day?
Yes, I would recommend more like it's a very good starter for a lunch. Yes, yeah. Okay, so now we can actually plate it up.
Okay, awesome.
Just want to delicately place the salmon. All over the top.
Yeah, it's quite tender.
And that chipotle is going to add a beautiful smoky flavor to the fish.
Okay, wonderful. So we're going to plate that and pop the rest of our ceviche onto our fresh salad. But let's join Jenny on the couch with David Kramer.
Thanks, Bonnie. That salmon looks delicious. But for now, we are back on the couch with the legendary David Kramer. Now, I have to ask, because you've had such a fascinating career, but you also had such an extraordinary friendship and relationship with the late Tully Peterson. How did that develop, and what did that obviously mean to you?
Well, I was introduced to Tully by Tanzanian-born Lindbergh. I did a concert at UCT, and he was their protege at that time. It was in the 1970s. And so we met and we liked each other. I think, kind of an admiration for what I was doing and what he was doing.
Yeah.
And then when I started thinking about writing a musical, and I wanted to make District 6 the subject, he came to mind, and then I bumped into him at a showing of a film, and I said, and he said, I wanted to talk to you because I want to write a musical. And I said, well, that's exactly, it was like, it was this strange coincidence. And we had coffee and we started talking about it, and so we started to see if we could work together, and we just clicked. He was a great musician, a fantastic ear for harmony and doing musical arrangements, and And so his strength was in the music, and my strength was more in the lyrics and the storytelling. So that combination worked very well for us. And we had no idea that we would go on, firstly to write District 6, the musical, and then, another one and another one and another one, and until his death. The last time I saw him was at our London opening of our musical Guma at the Tricycle Theatre, and that was opening night on the Wednesday. He flew back on the Thursday, and on Saturday he was murdered. A wonderful creative period together, and and for it to end so abruptly and so tragically, and so it was a huge shock to me. And I miss him. I miss him every day.
I'm sure. I'm so sorry. That's so hard, and it's unfair. It's not any way for anyone to go. I want to go back to your transition from a solo performer to becoming a great award-winning theatre producer.
In the mid-'80s, I was working with Barney Simon, the artistic director of the Market Theatre.
Yeah.
And he was a great influence on me in terms of storytelling. And what he told me is that he made me understand that I was a storyteller, even though I was using my guitar and singing songs. But if I looked at my songs, I wasn't really a pop singer. I was more of a folk. Folk music was my interest, but I was telling stories. I was writing about characters, and I was writing about places, and so the idea of using my songs for other people to sing kind of came from Barney. In fact, he introduced me to Elsie Zitzman and Jennifer Stein at the time, and said, "Why don't you let them sing some of your songs?" Yeah. And that was quite a revelation to me, to hear my song sung firstly by someone else, and then a female voice. And then I wanted to start writing for other voices, particularly people who could sing much better than I could. And that's what's lovely about musical theatre, is that I can write for these fantastic voices like Lynelle Kenned, and they can sing and soar.
What does it feel like, though, when you write something and then it ends up like on the West End? I mean, that must feel like a great...
Well, that's, it's pinch yourself, really, this must be a dream. The last thing that we had kind of planned was to have Cut and the Kings, end up in London on the West End, win the Laurence Olivier Best Musical Award in 1999, and then be whisked off to New York, to Broadway, red carpet treatment, limousines, open on Broadway. This was a show that Talib and I wrote for some of the singers that we'd been working with in a previous musical called Poison, and they were going to be out of work, and we thought, okay, so we've got these 4 or 5 young guys, we've got an older guy, what kind of story can we put together, what are their strengths, and this idea of a young vocal harmony group in District 6 wanting to make it, being told through the eyes of one of them who is now much older, and working as a shoeshine man on the streets. Yeah. We never knew it would do that.
No, but that is genius, to be able to identify artists' strengths and their abilities and creating something around that. It really is sheer genius. That's been quite important for me, is because when we started with District 6, the musical, Talib introduced me to a lot of his friends who were singers or musicians, but they weren't trained as actors, and they had no stage experience. And so we had to take them through that process of learning how to work on stage and tell a story. And in that process, I saw how you have to write to kind of disguise the weaknesses and bring out the strength in the performer, and that worked really well. That worked really well for us. But discovering talent is something that you're also especially good at. What a lot of people don't know is that you discovered Emo and Lukman.
Well, I didn't discover them. They grew up they grew up with us, because they played. They were I think Lukman was 9, 10 when he started, and he was playing Brucci, when his voice broke, his brother came along, Emo, and I said to him, "Do you think you could do this?" And he said, "Yes, he
How
could."
sweet are they?
Yeah,
We've
he
had
was,
them on the
they were
show,
this,
actually.
and they started to get their stage experience, and they were learning from the others on stage, and so what that long exposure to audiences night after night did for Emo and Lukman is absolutely incredible, and other people like Alistair Isabel, and there've been so many young people who've worked in the musicals.
Now, we're running out of time, but before we go, I have to ask, performing at Carnegie Hall, I mean, that must have been an extraordinary moment.
A huge highlight for me.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you know, that you just, everyone kind of jokes about it, you know, how do you get to Carnegie Hall, you know, that thing, and yeah, musicians will be through New York, practice. And and we got to play Carnegie Hall, me along with some of the top musicians from Cape Town in the band. I did a very Cape-orientated show.
Lovely. Well, congratulations. You are amazing. We're so happy to have you on the show. We're going to be chatting to you a little bit later, so don't go away. After the break, Lynelle Kenned, the female lead in David Kramer's Orpheus in Africa, joins us on the couch to chat about the production, and we take a look at some cake decorating ideas. We'll be right back.
Express yourself. Get 15% off with W Rewards when you pay with your Woolies card. Get the card, get the rewards.
We're back on the couch to learn more about the stellar production along with David Kramer and female lead Lynelle Kenned, who plays Mattie Allen, the fiancée of Orpheus. Welcome back to the Loft. We last had you when you were talking about another big production you were on, right?
Yes, that's correct, Bunny.
Yeah.
That was just before West Side Story, and that was a couple of months ago now. But I'm extremely happy to be back and reprising the role of Mattie Allen and working with Mr. Kramer again.
Who is Mattie Allen?
Mattie Allen, a fascinating character in history, and also what was interesting for me was the parallels that I could draw between her life and mine in some way.
Really?
But yeah, she was an African-American classically trained singer and was teaching at the time when she joined the Virginia Jubilee Singers.
Okay, now, Orpheus in Africa is a little-known story about a man, Orpheus McAdoo.
Yes.
It's set in the late 19th century. Tell us about the plot.
Well, Orpheus McAdoo is the son of slaves, and he's one of the first freedmen who gets an education, just like Mattie Allen. And he joins the first Jubilee Singers and then goes to Australia, sees the possibilities of introducing the old spirituals to the Western world, or the colonies of Queen Victoria, and puts his own company together called the Virginia Jubilee Singers. And they set off to tour Europe, and it doesn't go so well in the beginning. And he meets up with Lady Loch, who is the wife of the governor to the Cape, Henry Loch, and she persuades him to come to Cape Town. And they come to Cape Town not knowing what to expect in Africa, and are a huge success in South Africa. Not only in Cape Town, they actually tour South Africa for 2.5 years before going off to Australia.
Yeah.
This is a true story about a big group of African-American singers who introduced the spiritual to this continent and to Australia.
Wow, what an incredible story. What drew you to the story?
Well, firstly, I saw a photograph of them, and I was working on another musical called Guma, and I was researching, you know, sort of the origins of Cape music and so on. And I saw that there'd been this visit to Cape Town by this company, and they were dressed in, you know, top hats and Victorian tailcoats, and they all looked very smart and beautiful costumes. And I thought, now who can these people be, you know? And then I started to find out more and more about them, and you know, he's an impresario and a great singer, and a man who takes on the world of Queen Victoria and succeeds.
Wow.
You know, he succeeds, and even when things get difficult for him, he reinvents himself. So he's a fascinating theatrical personality.
Sure. Now, you play opposite Aubrey Boyer, one of our greatest theatre actors. What's that experience been like?
Gosh, you know, I knew Aubrey as a dramatic actor, obviously, but I had no idea that he had such a background in musical theatre. He was in Rent and Dreamgirls, and what a voice. Can I just say they got the casting spot on with this one, but Mr. Kramer will probably tell you the story of how they landed with Aubrey initially.
Yes, do tell, and the story of how you cast Lynelle.
You know, when I was writing this, and because it's an American company in South Africa, I kept thinking, who do I know who's going to play these roles? You know, I knew Lynelle, and I was writing for Lynelle. I knew that she was going to be Mattie Allen.
Girl, we had done Blood Brothers together, so I was lucky.
But I didn't know who would play Orpheus and some of the other roles as well, the comedic roles. And the director of West Side Story, Matthew Wilde, he said to me, do you know Aubrey? And I said, no, I've never heard of him. And they said, fly him down. He's your guy.
He's your guy.
And we flew him down. He auditioned. He sang that Etta James song, At Last. At last. And the American accent and the acting, and he was just perfect. He's got a perfect look. Wow. He's got all the qualities we need. So I was very, very happy to meet up with Aubrey.
That's wonderful. Now, an interesting thing we were chatting about before our interview is that this is its second run at the Fugard Theatre. Yes. And it's a case of backed by popular demand.
It is, yes.
What is it that has drawn crowds to the theatre about this piece?
I think people are fascinated by the story. It's so beautifully sung. The singing is partly operatic. It's this gospel choir sound, you know, from the 1890s. The costumes are exquisite. I mean, what these women look like in the Victorian outfits is just beautiful.
Wow. I can just say, be glad we don't have to wear corsets in today's day and age.
Wow. That waist training every night, hey?
That's good.
So I think, you know, the look of the show, the costumes, the set design, the performances, and then this very interesting, true story that nobody knew about.
That's incredible. Lynelle, what do you love most about playing Mattie Allen?
Oh, wow. That's such a good question. In the second rewrite of the story, Mr. Kramer's done an amazing job with the character journey. I think there's a lot more. You just get to see more of who she is as a person and the journey that she has with Orpheus McAdoo. And I think it's a beautiful coming-of-age story. You get to show off different sides of your voice. She's classically trained, and then there's the contemporary music that you sing alongside her emotional journey. But just, it's a fascinating look at what it would have been like to be a woman in that time.
See, the thing is, African-American singers, you know, she was an opera singer, but she wouldn't have been able to be employed in America. They wouldn't have got onto the stages in America. And so coming out to the colonies gave her the opportunity in Orpheus's company to actually perform arias and to perform these beautiful Scottish ballads.
Wow, what a beautiful story. I certainly want to come see it. It's running throughout the summer season till January. So if you happen to be visiting Cape Town, pop over to the Athol Fugard Theatre and check out Orpheus in Africa. It was not disappointing. Let's head back to the kitchen with Jeannie as she decorates a cake.
Now, when it comes to desserts, presentation is everything. You may have whipped up an award-winning treat in your kitchen, but if it doesn't scream, "Eat me, I'm delicious," then what is the point? Here to show us how to turn a few creation-inspired desserts into golden delights is Lindt master chocolatier Dimo Simatos, and this may very well be the best day of my life. What on earth are we going to be making with all the chocolate?
So, chocolate decorations to decorate a range of creations-inspired desserts.
I'm obsessed. Where do we get started?
All right, so first thing we need to do, we've got to work on a little bit of a marble slab.
Okay.
We're going to give it a slight wipe.
Cool.
And then we're using plastics.
Okay.
All right, place the plastic down.
Okay, plastic, fantastic.
Yeah. Do you want to scoop some chocolate?
I will do whatever you want me to do with this chocolate.
All right, so take a good amount of chocolate and just drop it in the middle.
With absolute pleasure.
There you go.
Am I doing this properly?
Yeah, just a
I'm
little
having
bit
a lot
more.
of fun doing it. Really?
Just a...
Well, the more chocolate, the better.
Yeah, okay, just a little bit more. There you go. That's perfect.
We should swap jobs.
Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to spread it out. So, across the plastic.
Yes.
All right, so this is our dark chocolate from Lindt.
Okay.
So then we take our comb. This is a decorating comb. It has different teeth gratings, and we're going to pull straight lines through.
Okay.
Do you want to do the next one?
Of course.
Okay.
I don't understand what the point of this is, though.
Yeah, you'll see now.
Are we wasting chocolate?
And then pull it all the way across.
Okay, mine are a little skew.
There you go.
Okay.
So we give it a few seconds.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do is we're going to take the corner.
Yes.
We're going to bring it to the middle.
Okay.
And then we're going to roll it over. Okay.
Oh, my goodness.
So eventually, once this sets, it's going to give us these chocolate curls.
You are an absolute genius. How does it set? Just by leaving it aside?
Well, we'll pop it in the fridge for 5-10 minutes.
Can I do this at home?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Amazing.
so we've got
And does that create this?
Yeah, absolutely. So it'll, once we've molded it, it'll give these little curls.
Well, I've touched that one now, so I can't put it back. Next.
All right. So all of the rest of this gets scraped up.
Mm-hmm. Can't waste it.
Exactly. So pop that back in there. Mm-hmm. The next one we're going to do is chocolate shavings.
Okay.
You can.
With pleasure. I know my job.
So this time, instead of onto plastic, we're going to just straight onto the marble.
Okay.
There you go.
Just call me Charlie, darling.
Charlie, darling. I think one's enough.
Okay.
All right, again, we spread out.
Mm-hmm.
So here we need a little bit of time to spread
neatly.
Evenly, more importantly.
Mm-hmm.
You can make a mess, more to clean up. And then a couple of moments just for it to set. Once it's set, we'll take a scraper and we'll push it. And as we push, it'll kind of form different shapes.
Amazing. I mean, these look like things that you would buy in a hardware store, not really a bakery.
Our offset is a professional chocolatier's tool. This is a chocolate. It might look like a paint scraper, but it's actually a professional.
Okay, so those are going to be big, like little pieces like that.
Exactly.
And then what's next?
Okay, we've got to wait for that to set up a little bit.
Okay.
In the meantime, what I can do is I can pop a couple of these on.
Oh, right.
So that would form the decoration part.
Okay. Where do people go wrong when it comes to like decorating desserts?
Well, look, and specifically for chocolate, chocolate needs to be in specifically Lindt because of the good quality, the cocoa butter content. We need to temper chocolate.
Okay.
So tempering of chocolate is getting it to the right temperature so we can melt it, spread it, and it'll reset correctly.
Okay.
It just adds a little bit of excitement.
It really does finish it off so nicely. I mean, those desserts didn't even need decoration. They were
Icing
so
sugar.
good.
And a bit of crumble. These are biscuit pieces, just to add texture.
Absolutely delicious.
So I think this is almost ready.
Okay.
Okay, so at about a 45-degree angle, and then just push. It creates these thin wafer chocolate.
Can I have a go?
Give it a go.
This side?
Yep.
Okay, so just
push. Have some fun.
The pressure at ruining this chocolate is far too great.
There you go. Wow.
I made it. Kind of.
Yeah. So just remember, it is very, very delicate. As you can see, it starts to melt in your hands.
So should I eat it?
You should eat it or put it down very quickly.
I'll be keeping this for now. Thank you. Next up.
Okay, so let me finish this off.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all our chocolate shavings.
Delish.
The last one I have to show you is adding a little bit of color. So.
Oh, that's that over there. I mean, that looks so fascinating. How on earth did you do that?
This is cocoa butter printed onto plastic.
How on earth did you get that? Do you buy that already set?
Yeah, you would have to buy this.
Okay, and where would you buy something like that?
This you can find at the chocolate studio or online, specialist stores.
Excellent, and it's obviously edible.
It's all edible, but you'll see now we don't actually eat the plastic. We actually eat the print that sits on the chocolate.
Fantastic, which is made out of cocoa butter.
Exactly. So it kind of imitates a chocolate tattoo. Do you want to do this one?
Yeah.
All right. So again, an amount of chocolate straight onto the plastic. Getting quite good at this, huh? Yeah, it's genoeg.
I'm getting professional. I'm really good at working with chocolate. It's my thing.
You want to give the spreading a go?
Okay.
No. So keep it at a slight angle.
I can either work with chocolate or paint.
And then spread. Push to one side, and then come back.
Work with me now. Am I doing this properly?
Yeah, I think my job's safe.
Pressure. Yeah, your job is totally safe, trust me. I would eat myself in your kitchen all the time. Okay, it's not smoothing out for me.
I can do that.
Yeah.
So once we've spread a nice even coating, again, we have to wait for chocolate to set.
Of course.
And then all we're going to do is cut out little strips. So these are just little abstract decorations that...
So that'll just stick to that?
Exactly.
Okay.
So once we've cut it out, we use a little hobbycraft blade.
Okay.
We make little lines through the chocolate.
Perfect.
And that could make any shape. I mean, we could use a cutter to push it out. Exactly.
Okay.
And that will go into the fridge, set 5-10 minutes, and then we'll peel it away. We have the garnish.
Sensational. Now, is it possible to overcook the chocolate when you've heated it up?
Yes. So we refer to melting the chocolate, and we advise no higher than 30, 32 degrees.
Okay,
so
fantastic.
You can imagine this is actually quite cool. It's cooler than our body temperature. So.
Definitely. And it's really hard to mess up a good dessert. I think you've done a fantastic job. Thank you for teaching me. That was certainly top class. My homemade desserts will never look the same again. Now, if you want to win a Lindt dessert making course and the creations that inspired these desserts, then pick up your phone now and SMS the keyword Lindt, your name and city to 33728. SMSs cost R1.50 each. And check out our website, afternoonexpress.co.za for the T's and C's. We'll be right back after this.
Surrender to indulgence. Which will you give into first? Creation from the Lindt Master Chocolatier.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now, he was born in Tanzania in the late 70s while his parents lived there in exile from South Africa. And in 1992, he returned and took residence in Soweto. He is best known as the lead vocalist of hip-hop ensemble Tumi and The Volume. And with an internationally successful solo career, he released his latest effort, Return of the King, earlier this year. Joining us on the couch is Tumi Molekane. Welcome to The Loft.
Madam, thank you. Glad to be here.
Finally, we've gotten you here. Now, I want to know, growing up in exile in Tanzania, what was that like, firstly? And do you think any of that had an impact on who you are as an artist today?
Yeah, indeed. I mean, I think, like, you know, just the array of people that you meet, you know, on your travels, because it wasn't just Tanzania, it was like Southern Africa, it was parts of Europe, you know. So just like the array of people you meet, it just, like, it broadens, you know, your view on the world and what you can be and what you can do. So definitely it has a big impact on what I make now.
Tanzania is such an incredible place. I mean, I've traveled there extensively. But then moving to Soweto, what were the differences, do you think, between the two places for you?
The whole time I wasn't in South Africa, you know, there was this dream of going back home to the promised land, you know, for lack of a better term.
Did Joburg seem like the land of milk and honey, I suppose?
It didn't. It felt like, you know, those videos I used to watch when I was in exile, you know, people, you know, stone throwing, and, you know, it looked exactly like that. It was like, wow, this is that place. And I was different. I couldn't speak any local, you know, language. So I was kind of ostracized a little bit. So it was kind of a reality check, you know, like, okay, work must be done, you know? And for a kid, it's like, oh, it's a bit daunting, but, you know, I've always been like 16 going on 40, you know, so. So.
One of the pleasures for me listening to your work is the fact that your lyrics are amazing. And do you think that comes from the fact that you are a poet? You've got that poetic, you know, system, I suppose.
Yeah, I think that, you know, there isn't, for me, you know, when someone says, yo, poetry, and then, okay, hip-hop, to me, there isn't a line, really. You know, like, I try to blur that line as much as possible so that, you know, when someone can dance to your music or, you know, hear you rap and go, oh, I love the flow, but if they do interrogate it, they can be like, oh, wow. oh, that was clever. Oh, I see how he, you know what I mean? And because that's what I enjoy about rap, you know, or hip hop, is that, you know, I can listen to like an AKA or a Casper or whatever and be like, oh, look. How he weaved, I see that, you know, and, you know, I hope you guys caught it, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's what I love about rap as well. I mean, I'm Eminem's biggest fan in the world.
Yo, and he's one of the best, right?
And I was quoted recently and actually dissed and slated because I said that he's the Shakespeare of our generation.
So who's
and people do. I know it's quite a statement, but it's exactly that, weaving those words, putting rhyme to rhythm with cleverly used words.
You know, like, I mean, I'm proud of you for making such a bold statement. I'm really proud of you. And I'm in your corner. No, I got the pom-poms in your corner. But I'm just saying, like, if you think about it, right, outside of writers and authors, it's like our platform is just, it's a public platform. But a lot of what these artists do is actually genius, you know? Like, I know there's, you know, some below average, whatever, but like a lot of, like, you know, when you mention Eminem, when you mention Jay-Z, when you like, there's stuff in there that really sits and is timeless and speaks to like people's insecurity and people, you know what I mean? Like depths, you know, like Shakespeare stuff, you know? So
definitely.
So yo,
so you get it.
I got you. I'm telling you, yo, I got the pom-poms.
I've wanted hip hop. I get it. Okay, now with your latest album, you worked and collaborated with quite a few other amazing artists. How do you choose who you want to work with? Is it somebody that you connect with musically, or just someone that's quite hot on the scene?
For me, it's always the music. Like, the music will decide, you know? Like, I'm a fan of a lot of artists, especially in the country. And, you know, if I really, I'm trying to cater to a South African audience, I know that, okay, look, there are amazing artists that we have here who, you know, command a great constituency of people. So, you know, but generally it's the music. If the story says, this is what it needs Kelly Kumalo, then, you know, madam, can you help me? If it needs Zion, then, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm going to be working on my raps and rhythms. Maybe I'll feature on one of your albums.
Oh, what?
Who knows?
Oh, yeah. I'm hard to work with, though. I'm typically hard to work with.
Well, somebody who loves working with you and loves you, and certainly gave you a hard time recently, was Simpiwe Dana.
Yeah.
And the reason for this, and you've got to see it, is because in your music video, you've got two girls on all fours, and you've got their ponytails as collars, like dog leashes on them. Sure. And she said, not cool, bra. She's not loving it. Please explain that picture in question for me.
I don't know nothing about the picture. It was part of a music video.
Yeah,
she was mad at the picture, and I didn't put out a picture. I put out a music video with a song, with a context, and I felt like she, you know, just kind of had a knee-jerk reaction to like a picture, you know, that was online, you know.
Taken out of context.
Exactly, and you know, I mean, I had to convince her, just watch the video, and you know, but I do acknowledge that the image was quite violent, and you know, I put myself in the middle. I was the one holding it, and I was the message I was trying to send forth was that I'm also complicit. Like, there were different things in the video, but I'm also complicit in like violence against women, or just being a little bit patriarchal, or you know what I mean? Like, so that's why I put myself in the middle. But there's a thin line between speaking out against something and perpetuating it. And I think, you know, we might have missed, you know what I mean? That fine line of like making a statement and we just kind of perpetuate it. And I'll accept that. You know, I'm a rational human being. I'm not an emotional little kid. So I will accept and say, you know, my bad.
But you are a sensational artist, and I wish you the best with your album. And I really hope that Tumi and the Volume will collaborate again and do something.
Those dudes are old. The one guy's on the beach somewhere. Come on, man. This is, like, you had your moment, okay?
After the break, we have an exclusive performance by Tumi.
Hey.
So make sure you stay right where you are.
Apply for a Nedbank home loan today and stand a chance to win 100,000 rands worth of home decor to help turn your new house into a dream home. Go to winnerhome.tv for more info. Let Nedbank help you make the things that really matter happen.
Salati Plantation Select adds subtle sweetness to toffees, caramel, bran muffins, or sprinkled into a spicy curry. Salati, always good, always sweet.
Welcome back to Afternoon Express. Now make sure you catch Winner Home this evening at 7:30 on SABC3. This week the teams are tasked with decorating their bathrooms. Tension escalates as Team Detail only has one member. With a meagre budget of 30,000 Rand, contestants struggle with their purchase choices, and it promises to be yet another thrilling episode. Right now though, we have an Afternoon Express exclusive. Tumi is standing by with his hot track Broke People.
I see broke people, heartbroke people, down low sharing homes with cockroach people. Yeah, broke people, no J.O. people, no loan, mashonisa break your bones people. I mean broke people, catch a stroke people, hospital won't treat you, go and die alone people. Know any broke people on TV shows people, 30 minutes won't fit their lifelong sequel. I seen broke people that once were broke people, get their checks for bringing death on their own people. Ekanta ubona abantu bayalamba stulenje kodwa siphizi sizilungiselela uthatha ongowethu umnotho wethu ebafowethu cela umthandazo ngoba inzima lendlela. I see broke people, go slow people. They don't vote for ideas, they voting for people. Yeah, broke people, standing the cold people. In they numbers, trying to win the lotto people. I mean broke people, should be gone people. At the club, guarding your Volvo people. Know any broke people that might have stole from people. Get caught and killed off, put in a hole people. Funeral people, no insurance people. And what do you know, they get survived by broke people. I seen them all in the mall cleaning store windows. No apples or books, just spike calls people. Cheers. You can't tell, but I want to buy a lamba. Go to a sea, business is a lungi selela. Oh, no way to. Umnotho wethu ebafowethu cela umthandazo ngoba inzima lendlela. Think about it now, we don't stop there. How we living, man, we broke as hell. Kodwa sifuna ukuhlanganisa ukwazi nezenzo ziyaswisa. But now look, I'm tryna get money. It don't mean no drama, we are born us money. But then again, I'm working with these guys, cool dudes, and it ain't no surprise when I on his own with our backs facing home. Cause I was never born, no alone. Hey, I'm just here trying to make money. Walk it. What's up? Ekanta ubona abantu bayalamba stulenje kodwa siphizi sizilungiselela uthatha ongowethu umnotho wethu ebafowethu cela umthandazo ngoba inzima lendlela.
Brilliant, well done.
Merci.
What inspired that track?
You know, with rap music, you always hear about people bawling and people like really
Shot
getting it in, and that's cool. But like, it's like, what about those, the other people that like who pour your gas, who like, you know what I mean? Who's so,
Yeah. I wanted to know as well, I mean, because you all seem to be performing at the most amazing places in the world. You performed at the Apollo in New York.
Yeah, we did that last year. It was incredible. I think, Full House, I did it with The Soil, which is an incredible, a cappella group in Simpiwadana. And, for me, just to see my grandfather's name on like 125th Street, you know what I mean? Like where James Brown is, like it was just really, really powerful, So yeah, it was beautiful.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So now you've been in the kitchen making ceviche. This is very healthy.
You made this?
Yeah, I made this.
Is it edible?
It's edible. It's edible.
Okay.
It is raw fish, and it's salmon ceviche. It tastes amazing.
Okay, so I'm going to help you guys dish up. Excuse moi. And then let's start with Tumi.
Because he's awesome. Yes. Now, make sure you join us again next Monday on Afternoon Express. In the first 15 minutes, we have a laugh with South African comedian John Vlismus. And in the kitchen, we're making a sriracha and sweet potato roast. I do not know what that is, but we'll find out.
Sriracha, isn't it that stuff that we always have with that hot sauce?
Oh, okay, that's what it is.
We've cooked with it before. Well, I have anyway.
You cooked with it before.
I'm just cooking with hot sauce, baby.
I see you.
Anyway, thank you so much for joining us on Afternoon Express. We had absolute legends in the house today, so thank you for joining us. We'll be back on Monday. Have a beautiful weekend.
Your
Until
weekend.
then, ciao and happy eating.
Next week on Afternoon Express, local comedian John Vlismus joins us in the loft. We catch up with Seven Delans, Vanessa and Sheldon, real-life couple Ingrid and Denver Frachom, and international image consultant Chata Romano shares some valuable advice.
Another feel-good production.